Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Don't worry, you're not having deja vu, I'm just replaying the last part of part 4. So I know it's been a long time since the last video and I do sincerely apologise about that. As I said in the previous video, I am struggling a little bit to try and get the project finished with the little time in the unit that I have left, so that is why it's taken me so long. However, here is part 5. Without further ado, let's get on with the project. So this is a DIY steering wheel puller. I couldn't find the correct one for this steering wheel. Even in a kit, I could not find one that would work for this steering wheel. So all that I did was welded a nut onto this plate that I just got at my local auto parts shop and then tightened the bolts and voila, it's off. And this is the next day now after work, removing the dash, removing the wires, speedo cable, and remembering to take lots of pictures because I will forget even tomorrow where everything goes, so God help me when it comes to putting this thing back together if I didn't have any pictures. Sorry about the dodgy angle as well, you were in the inbuilt door ashtray. And I found a coin behind here and 20 pence, so I'm now 20 pence up from what I was 15 minutes ago. So as you can see, it's starting to budge. A few more bolts and screws to go at. Can you imagine if I could undo bolts this quick in real time? I would be saving myself so much time. And why have just one bolt or screw to do the whole thing when 85 different bolts will do? And now it's basically ready to come out. This is a bit of a two-man job if you don't want to wreck anything. So yeah, grab a partner, grab a buddy. That's all I did to get this bloody dash out because it's so big and cumbersome and there's so many things that could just easily be broken, so that's just what I've done. Time for the carpet and rubber sound deadening mat to come out. The carpet is held in under the dash, another reason why the dash had to come out. The carpet is now out, which is a pretty painless job. I think I'll be putting the rubber mat back in, probably with some additional rust proofing, some sort of barrier between them to stop them fusing together in future. So once water gets between the rubber mat and the floor, they end up fusing together. A big contributor to why they rot out here so easily. And there is the horror lurking under there, completely rotten out. The driver's side is much worse than the passenger side, and most of them go here, most of them end up going here. But again, I'll decide that when it comes to it at some point in the future. But as you can see, it is completely rotten under here. The heater isn't blowing hot, so I'm removing this anyway, and I will be fixing that in a future video. Again, removing various nuts, screws, bolts, anything that I can find. Here is the passenger side floor. It will need some work and various patches. So since time is running short at the unit, I've been getting a lot more help than I usually do on the projects from friends and family that have been kind enough to sacrifice their time to aid me in moving the project along as quickly as possible. As most of you will know or have seen in my previous videos, those that help me out choose to not feature on the camera. However, in this video I would like to introduce you to my friend Jamie. Jamie is an apprentice welder fabricator who has taken this as an opportunity to gain some experience within the automotive world. He has very kindly sacrificed a fair few weekends helping us reconstruct the Discovery. He has aspirations to grow a following in the Instagram welding world, etc. So therefore I am giving him a shout out here. If it is Jamie working on the Discovery in the clips, I'll be sure to let you guys know. However, if I say nothing at all, it'll be me as usual. Here is the passenger side sill, made up of an inner and outer sill. The inner sill is spot welded to the outer sill and also held in by the body mounts and seatbelt anchor point. It's a case of drilling out the spot welds by creating a pilot / a smaller hole with a smaller drill bit, and then expanding that hole with a larger drill bit to completely remove the spot weld. As you can see in this clip, I've drilled through all the spot welds that hold on the inner part of the sill and its brackets. Although you will see later, I actually cut out most of this part of the floor. As a general rule of thumb, I always aim to drill out the spot welds and remove as little material as possible at first, while I work out what has to be repaired. Then with a chisel and hammer prying the two panels apart. Here is Jamie prying those panels apart. It can be quite a tedious job, but plenty of cutting oil and patience is key. Inner sill removed now. As you can see, those brackets are very weak, they may as well be made out of cheese. Again, the brackets were simply spot welded from factory onto the inner sill along with the seatbelt mounting point. Here is the outer sill, or what is left of it. This provides one half of the box section that I was talking about earlier that ties into the floor as well. It is simply a bent piece of sheet steel with the A and B pillars spot welded to it. And here is the old inner sill again, with the brand new inner sill from YRM placed next to it. I will leave a link in the description to YRM's website. So this is just a comparison to the original here. Again, sheet steel that has been precisely cut and bent to form part of the box section, with brackets spot welded on OEM style. I got these panels for convenience and ease due to time restraints. They are very well made, and YRM has coated them in zinc for additional rust protection as well. The inner and outer sill are now removed. The floor has also been cut. As you can see, more needs to be taken from that floor, as marked in yellow, and a sneak peek of the new outer sill down there, which will make up some of the floor as well, and I will be tying it into the footwell. The floor is now cut and removed. The inner sill is now bolted in place as well with the body mounts and new bushes. As you can see from the seatbelt mounting point, the inner sill still needs some adjusting. I'm aiming for the seatbelt mounting point to be in the centre of that hole that is in the floor. It is slightly out, as you can see, so it will need adjusting further. The outer sill is now cut and prepared to go in when the time comes. I have prepared the edges with a flap disc on the angle grinder before attempting to weld it in, because you want to MIG weld to as clean metal as possible for the best possible weld. So the seatbelt mounting point is now central to the hole in the floor, and the inner sill is correctly in place after adjusting. And now it's time to tack the seatbelt mounting point in place. While making plug welds such as these, I typically get someone to push up from the underneath with the handle of a hammer to press the two metals together, just as they were spot welded before. The outer sill is temporarily in now to double check the alignment, ensuring it's creating an even box section. And I don't know if you can see there, but it needs slightly adjusting. And I've also left the A-pillar on to contribute towards the alignment. So this acts as a datum point along with the body mounts, etc., to ensure that the body is correctly aligned, as I will be in for a right treat if that's out of alignment. So the outer sill is now back out to finish on the inner sill, and it was pretty late in the day at this point, so I was getting ready to shut up shop for the night. Just having another look over everything that's been achieved that day of getting the inner sill in, and just double checking the alignment, triple checking it, making sure that it's absolutely bob on for tomorrow. And it's the next day now, the outer sill is back in again, triple checking the alignment before committing to it. Now been tacked in, so then I go ahead with tacking in this floor panel / section of the outer sill. Once I've built up a few tacks and I'm certain of the placement, I'll then go on building up yet more tacks and just very short whirl runs. Not to create too much distortion in the panel as it is only thin. I mean, some distortion is completely inevitable, but I want to do what I can to reduce it. Underneath now, tacking the inner and outer sill together. I didn't use a spot welder as I didn't have one at the time, although spoiler alert, I have now got one and you'll see that in a future video. However, if you don't have one, this is just what I did. And here is Jamie just finishing off tacking the inner sill to the outer sill. And using a hammer to push up as the seatbelt mounted point is tacked in from underneath to ensure that the two metals contact one another. And I had to do this in quite a few places, such as the floor with the new outer sill. A couple of places needed pushing up as it had been tacked in. So that is tacked in place now, and I've left the front of the sill / the floor as that needs panel beating to form part of the footwell. And I don't know if you can see there, but there's very minimal distortion from the tacks so far, and I'm very happy with the placement. So it'll just be a case of now filling in all the empty gaps with tacks. And here is the new B pillar bottom, again from YRM. This will need cutting down to size. It's good if you need to remove further up, depending on how rotten out that B pillar is. It's usually only the bottoms of them, but just in case you need to go a bit further up. Thankfully I didn't. So that's now cut to size and held in place with a welding magnet. And that is it for today, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you again next time.